unorganized, chaotic thoughts. Today I'm seeing Abigail. Tried to go for like a red vibe. Come on, I know you're gonna. I'm very much a person who will see movies based on the actors that's in them, because I love actors. In a different world, in a different universe, I would have wanted to be an actor. But I don't want that whatsoever. I love what I do. but I find I love actors more than the average person, probably. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just hit him in the face. He doesn't care, I guess. I'm sorry. I don't know a ton about this movie. I saw the trailer twice while seeing other movies. And I watched one review about it. I'm excited just because this feels like the type of movie I would go see when I was in high school with my friends, because we like to see horror movies, even though I'm not like I like seeing horror movies. I've seen a lot of horror movies, but I'm not a horror movie buff person. Like, I don't like the classics. The Shining, shit like that. I don't like it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I in trouble?
Ugh. But I loved Sinister, Conjuring growing up, like that kind of horror movie, and I think I'll really like this kind where it's like, oh, I kind of know everything about it already without knowing much at all, and it's gonna be more fun. I like fun. I love Scream. I love a horror movie where you can also laugh, and I think this one is perfect then. And I'll probably have spoilers. I feel like I will. So I'm sorry if you didn't want that. At this point, up until I go see it, there aren't any though. Oh, it's so sad. Angus Cloud. I opened my phone and it's Angus Cloud. I was looking up this movie. This is the last movie he's ever in. I can't believe that he passed. That's so weird. And from everything I've heard, he was an absolute angel on this earth. So I wanted to see it as soon as I saw him in the theater. I'm also going for Melissa Barrera because I love her now that I've seen Scream, and I stan her for literally being kicked off in support of Palestine. That is one of the craziest things. I can't believe that happened, and I'll happily not support Scream anymore because of it if they're produced by Spyglass, I think it is. Oh, but then is this one? Let me look. I like to do fact checking. I don't want to get anything wrong ever. Really, I should do this before I start filming, but I'm just not a prepper. Producers. Okay, no. So this was produced by Radio Silence and Project X Entertainment. I've heard of Radio Silence, so okay. I'll gladly not support Scream produced by Spyglass, even though I'm sad. I really wanted another movie, but I love her now. I love her, and I'll see her in this movie. I also love Kathryn Newton. See, I just love actors. I haven't even talked about what the movie is yet. I'm going for the actors. Kathryn Newton, I've liked. She's been in so many things and I've seen so many of them. But Big Little Lies is the standout to me. I love Big Little Lies. I didn't see Lisa Frankenstein. I know that I will at some point. I'm kind of sad that I didn't go to that, but I'll see it. I've heard it's going to be one that people like in the future more. For some reason, like Jennifer's Body. Freaky, I watched that twice. It's like not a great movie, but a fun movie. She's in fun things. I like her in anything, and she's in The Society, right? Okay, Blockers, that's good too, even though it doesn't look like it'll be. I really want to watch 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Jesus, the title, but I want to watch that again. And she's in Lady Bird? Why can't I think of who she is? I'll look that up. Wow. Paranormal Activity 4. Bad Teacher. The Society. My sister Kess watched it, and then she told me to watch it. I was like, okay, cool, I'll watch it. And then I loved it, and then she was like, oh, it got canceled. And you only get this one season of it. And I was so upset. And now we've rewatched that a couple times. It was a while ago now. They're never gonna make that again. It's sad. But I like the one season we got. So I love Kathryn Newton. So already many people that I'm very excited to see in this movie, so there's absolutely no reason for me not to go see it. But really I'm excited about the main character. I still haven't said what it's about. It doesn't matter. If you're watching this video, you probably are interested in the movie. Alisha Weir. I did not see Matilda the musical because I'm not really into that, but I did see the clip of them dancing. Maybe you did too. Maybe I'll put it in here. It was amazing. And she's the lead in that. And I've only heard that she is going to be huge. And she's fantastic in this movie. And she has incredible range at how old she is. How old is she? She was born 2009. It's really weird. How long is it going to take me to do mental math? 10 would be 14. She's 13. My God. And already very well respected in the industry. So I hope she's doing well. I hope she enjoyed making this. And I'm very excited to see her play a vampire ballerina-esque girl. I didn't really know what the premise of this movie was. I wasn't trying to see a lot of it before I saw it. I'll give the general short synopsis on IMDb. After a group of criminals kidnap the ballerina, a literal ballerina daughter of a powerful underworld figure, they retreat to an isolated mansion, unaware that they're locked inside with no normal little girl. The only the only critique I've heard of this movie is that they didn't leave the plot up for suspense at all. I know, going into this, I knew right away when watching the trailer because it says this little girl is like a vampire, a monster killing little vampire.
We kidnapped a fucking vampire.
But I feel like they should have made that a secret because it would have been a great twist if you didn't know she's a vampire, saying, oh my God, she's a vampire. I've said many times that I would want to be the person who makes trailers. I don't know how you get that job. I want to make trailers because I feel like I'd be really good at it. And I do think trailer making is an art, and some trailers are so freaking bad that I can't, or they tell you everything that's in them. I feel like I can make a really good trailer. I think I could. I remember, what is it now? The Lady Gaga movie with Bradley Cooper. What is that? Star is Born. There. Star is Born trailer. I watched several times. It's a really good trailer. Me and my friends were like, oh my God, but did you see the trailer? It's still good, but it's not the same. You could make a better trailer than the movie sometimes. And what they're doing with Longlegs, the horror movie, excellent marketing, excellent teaser trailers. There's videos about it. If you're in the horror world, you'll see it. And I want to see Longlegs, even though the genuinely scary movies are not really my favorite. I want to see it because of what they're doing with that. And it's always scarier to know less. But I don't think this one's going to be, I've heard it's gory, which I don't like body horror a ton. I'm like a really picky horror watcher, I suppose, but I'll watch pretty much any of it, but I don't seek it out. But I'm assuming this one's gonna be pretty gross. Oh well. Who's the director? I keep throwing my phone on the ground. Okay, Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. And if my memory serves me, I don't remember names, but I remember faces a bit. They did the last two Screams. Yeah, they did. Cool. Scream 5 and 6, which I loved, and that's why they know Melissa Barrera. So I'm happy to see them continuing to work together, and I really liked those two Screams. And now I'm even more excited. I didn't realize it was them. So it's going to be an ensemble cast, which I love, of a bunch of people who probably aren't very similar in a mansion where they can't get out and are slowly dying, slowly being killed. I think that's what I'm in for. And now I'm super jazzed. Let's see what I think of it.
We're gonna beat this shit up.
What did you think? I loved it. I thought it was 10 out of 10 for pretty much all of it.
I really liked it a lot, yeah. I remember you said it was a horror comedy, so that at some point I was like, well, when does the comedy start? And then when it started, it was like, oh, there it is. There's the comedy.
I've figured out my mic issues, and now I am happy and ready to do this. This is the next day. I wrote 3 pages in my little journal about this movie because I did not expect to like it this much. I loved it. I loved it. And this will definitely have spoilers. I'm literally just going to talk about it. I don't really know how to add anything to the conversation that's going to be like a review of this. I don't really care. I'm just going to talk about it because I had a lot of fun. So if you don't want that, I'm sorry, this is not the video for you. But I love listening to people just talk about things that they like. So here we go. Should I button this? Feeling a bit exposed. Okay, after the movie, okay. In the process of editing this video, I realized that I didn't actually see the full trailer before I went to this. I only saw the one that they played in the movie theaters, which was different than like the full-length trailer. And I'm so happy because the full-length trailer like literally has the whole movie in it, basically, which is my pet peeve. And it was absolutely so fun that my wife, Graylee, had not seen, I swear to God, she has seen the trailer when we've gone to other movies, but she totally forgot what this was and didn't know the twist. She didn't know that Abigail was a vampire. So I thoroughly enjoyed just watching her slowly realize she's amazing at predicting what's gonna happen in a movie. And like she knew that something is weird with Abigail and she was like kind of lying to them in a way, but she did not predict that she was a ballerina vampire. And her face was like fully agape, staring at the screen when she stood up and did her big yell thing. And that was amazing. And I'm sad that I didn't experience that. I guess I have said in the past, sorry, I'm playing with my sweatshirt. I guess I have said in the past that I don't always like it when movies are suddenly supernatural in any way whatsoever, because I'm like, oh, this isn't real. But I think this one is an exception because the stakes weren't super high. Like if this had played out without any vampire-ness, it would have been a heist movie and then people killing people, which I mean, that is what it is, but like they quickly realized they were going to be killed by the hitman of whoever they ended up working for, and like that would have been a lot more boring because that's just like not a very unique story. So in this case, and the context of this being a horror comedy, it was absolutely fantastic that they did that. But I do have qualms with the trailer and the advertising for totally just giving that away. There was a good chunk of the movie where had you not known that's what was going to happen, you'd be guessing a bunch of different things and then probably be wrong. And that would have been a lot of fun. But it also got people there because first time I saw it, I was like, oh my God, look at this little girl being absolutely horrific. And I wanted to go and I did. So I don't know. I'm not a marketing expert, obviously. So I get why they did that, but it would have been fun. I'm so glad that Graylee didn't know. It was fun for me. The first thing, it was so funny. Okay, I have so much to talk about. I now love the 2 men who directed this. I don't want to say their names because it's long. I will though. Sorry, I'm a little scattered because I had audio issues for so long. It's really annoying. Okay, Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. I love them. They're an amazing duo. I'm very excited to see what else they will do. I did like both of the Scream movies that they did. I did like Ready or Not that they did, but I liked Abigail probably a lot more. It was just fun. It was simply fun, and it was everything I wanted in this type of movie. And I'm always confused, like we always credit the directors, and I totally credit the directors, but they didn't write it. It was written by the same people that they did work with Scream, Guy Busick and Stephen Shields. So I'm like, when do we credit the writers? Why don't we credit the writers more? I don't really get that. And I want to write a screenplay at some point, so I'm like, whose idea really, I don't know, whatever. They're a great team. And I think what they did great is that one, ensemble cast, great casting, and they made you like the characters. I watched the behind the scenes video about this too, and the directors talk about their approach to writing, and one of the first things they say is, well, you have to like the characters. You have to have some emotional stakes in these characters, or you're not gonna care what happens, and it could still be a jolly good ass time time and gory, bloody mess, and you would have fun with that. But if you don't actually care about these characters in the end, it's not going to be super memorable. And I think they do a really good job at that, especially when they were specifically not supposed to know things about each other. But it was really fun when Melissa Barrera, I'm going to be bad at their character names, was calling everyone out. So what I'm saying, the groundwork of this film was great. And I can tell that they have a true passion for it. And that's not even with how brilliant Alisha Weir was, Abigail. Phenomenal casting. I am blown away by her. She's from Dublin, Ireland. I can't do an accent. She's from Ireland.
It's like a completely different species into a vampire, so...
In Matilda, she's British, I believe. And she's American in this. So I was like, oh my god, you're Irish? I didn't realize.
Little girl, thank you.
And she is just so cute. You guys have to watch the behind the scenes video. It's so freaking funny.
A 12-year-old girl. And she's just the littlest thing you ever seen. She's so cute. Every time she has her scary vampire teeth in and she's just smiling at you.
To see her in her vampire-ness and just being herself, it's amazing. All right, so as I said, all the spoilers. Here's the breakdown of the movie in no particular order, in the order in which I wrote them down, man. And the first thing I'm sad that Angus Cloud's character died so soon. I mean, someone was gonna die so soon, and I had seen in the trailer that he was gonna get dragged down the stairs when he's in the weird kitchen area. So I was like, oh my god, is he gonna die right away? I really don't want that, because I liked him, and obviously he was the character that he would typically play, which I think is very similar to himself, which is why he's amazing. So I really liked him, and he did a lot in the short amount of time that he was in this movie. I loved the scene where he's behind Kathryn Newton and he has the mask on and he lights his cigarette because he's always smoking. That was good. So that would be a jump scare. For jump scares, there were like the amount that you would expect in a horror movie, but they didn't rely heavily on jump scares. Yeah, and you knew basically when they were all coming. So I wouldn't say it was overdone or anything, and I really liked that one. But the beheading, I was sad. I was sad, but it made sense because he was the character that we liked the most initially because he was the most personable. And if they killed a rando other one right away, we would just be like, oh, there we go. But they immediately kill one I cared about. And then I was like, oh, okay, all bets are off with who's gonna make it. But the black man, what is his name? William Catlett, who played Rickles. He wasn't the first to die, but he got like the least amount of screen time for the stereotype that black people always die in horror movies. I was surprised by his death as well. Grayley was not. That is the first moment where she was like, oh, he's gonna die. She turned to me and he's like, he's gonna die, when he walked back into the room where Abigail was. And I didn't think he was gonna die. I was fully ready to accept that him and Melissa Barrera were gonna be the final people or whatever, which is what they wanted me to think. But then he gets his face and neck eaten off and dies right away. And that was sad. I'm not gonna be sad about all the deaths, but that one was. And they hit me over twice with character I really liked and then unexpected death. But Grayley went, oh, that's different, when she expected a different type of death, but then for it to be like, oh, someone fucking ate his face. It wasn't like that gory, but like essentially that is what it was. She was like, okay, that's different type of killing. And I was like, you don't know, it's that little girl vampire just freaking gnawed on him. While we were going home though, it was raining when we got out, which was nice, but I hydroplaned a little bit on the ride home and I was recording.
You're rushing You're fine. You go 30 or under and
You got that. I thought it was funny. Embarrassing. My genuine reaction to being scared. I was not super scared in this movie. It was fun. And I realized gore, it was bloody. There was a ton of blood. I'm not really affected by gore unless the tone of the movie is serious. If it's a serious, like, traumatizing movie and there's body horror and gore, I'm deeply affected by that and I hate it. But this kind of stuff was like, it was gross, but it was totally fine because it was a lighthearted, fun kind of movie. And I also really liked that the directors realized, like, that's how they, okay, I'm gonna put in a little clip. I don't know about copyright, whatever. I'm gonna put in a little clip of them talking.
explore really earnest emotional things under the veneer of this sort of heightened,
ballerina vampire,
wacky, kind of crazy world. It's about making the hard things in our lives a little bit more palatable, right? To be able to explore all of these kind of dark corners of who we are in a way that is really fun and is cathartic. And I think that for us, the sort of balance of those things, that you're making a movie about really serious things that is not taking itself seriously at all, that is the sweet spot.
And here's me paraphrasing. Using dark horror, blood, death, that kind of grungy goriness to deal with real human emotions is one of my favorite things. And adding a lightheartedness. I love lighthearted brutality. That's probably not how I'd say it. It's probably whatever. I like that because there were themes with all of the characters that you knew that they were dealing with. They were all criminals. They all did something, in Abigail's eyes, worth getting them there to be played with until they died.
What can I say? I like playing with my food.
So they all had their baggage, but we still cared about every one of them. And I still greatly cared about Abigail. And I think that's when you have really good writing. You sympathize with the people who you're not necessarily supposed to sympathize with. Everyone in this could have been like a villain character. And I wanted them all to prosper, to live, to make it. And I'm not even talking about but it's also a vampire film, you know? I love the duality. Okay, so we have those two deaths, and then we have an absolutely amazing I am a 12-year-old girl, take pity on me performance.
Please let me out.
From Abigail in the room, and she's tight with Joey, and I'm like, okay, I know Joey having a kid and her being sweet to Abigail and them pinky promising that she will not let any harm come upon her. I knew that was going to be the through line and that they were going to be buds or whatever in the end to an extent, okay, so the things about this movie is it is predictable in a way. Like, I knew Melissa Barrera, Joey, was going to be a final girl. I kind of had no doubt in my mind that she was gonna live. At some point I was like, maybe she'll be a vampire, but she'll live. So any fake out with that didn't really get me, and I knew it would come around to her and Abigail being kind to one another. But I don't take issue with being predictable in that way. It did take a little bit of suspense out of some of the scenes, but it's still so well done that I don't care. It was great. It was what I wanted. They set up what I wanted and they did it. I always set out to make these videos easy for me to edit, and then I always just fucking ramble and it's hard. I'm hating myself later in the editing. It's true. Okay, also, I will just say this. It has nothing to do with the plot or the movie whatsoever, really. But in the beginning, they look at a phone screen for a text message or something, and the time on the phone is 927. And though 927 is literally my favorite number. 927. That's my favorite number. So I always pay attention to it. And I was like, oh my god, 927. And then I remember that also happens in Scream, which they directed. When Jenna Ortega, I don't remember her name in it, is it the first time I'm literally gonna film my TV and go back. The first time the phone rings, Ghostface on the line, the phone says 927. So I was like, oh my god, 927 in two of their movies. Is that a coincidence? I don't know if anyone else would really pick up on that, because why would you? And in Scream, you see the phone again, and it is a different time. And in the trailer, it's not 927, it's 938 or something. But I was like, oh my god, that can't be coincidence. So I look it up, and I didn't do that big of a dive because I hate researching, but I didn't see anything initially about if that is significant at all. I feel like it's probably just a coincidence, but for me, that's absolutely fantastic. I love that. It's not either of their birthdays or anything either, so I don't know if someone else knows anything about 927, let me know, because I was heavily interested. 927 is Jenna Ortega's birthday, though, if you were wondering. Okay. This is literally no time has passed. I just did an outfit change because I wanted this video to be more chaotic. No, I was bothered by what I was wearing, which I literally only put on because I woke up sweaty and took off the t-shirt I was wearing and put on the shirt. The button down was the only other shirt that I had near me, so I put that on, and then I was freaking cold, and that sweatshirt was also on the floor, so I put on that sweatshirt. So I didn't have a t-shirt under the button down. This is so unnecessary. I didn't have a t-shirt under the button down, and the buttons were annoying my chest. So now I have a sweater and a necklace. I change all the time, even though I literally go nowhere. Also, I love going to the movies for so many reasons. One being, I always come home with a completely full popcorn. Who else likes stale popcorn? Because I do so much. And I worked at a movie theater and it was like my favorite thing ever to always have popcorn. I try to do actions that I can use to express my emotion. I just realized how silly that would look as a thumbnail. Maybe I did. We'll see. All right, where was I? Who's the next to die? Okay, so it's a really small cast. So once they're out, there's the main four, and I wasn't really expecting it to just be a main four type of movie, but I was fine with it. So we have the cop, I will refrain, the cop, Kathryn Newton, who I love so much, and Durant. Kevin Durant, one of those faces, also the cop that I've seen in a lot of things, but I could not tell you specifically what ever, but I like them both. And Kevin Durant did a great job as Peter. I loved Peter. Everyone's gonna love Peter. He's the kind of cliche now, really buff guy who is actually very sweet. And he's the muscle, meaning he would beat people up to get information and such, I think. He was really sweet to Abigail for most of the time until he was like, well, I guess I'll beat her up under Frank's orders because that's my job. And then I was like, oh, shoot. Well, whatever. I really liked him, and I was definitely most sad about his death. I think out of everyone. Yes, I was most sad about him dying. And that is because I haven't talked about Kathryn Newton because I have so much to say about her. I absolutely love her. And we must pause for a second. This has nothing to do with the movie. This has everything to do with Kathryn Newton. And if you don't know, she has 3 poodles. She has 3 poodles, 1 in every size, big, medium, and small. And I cannot get over it. Photos that she does with these poodles are just fantastic. And I thought you should know this poodle content exists. And then she's also like really into golf, which is just like, wow, what a person you are. I don't understand at all, but I'm thrilled. You seem to be good at golf. And she golfs with her poodles. She goes golfing with her poodles. I love her. Okay. So she's made a good name for herself as an actress, and she's in lots of fun things. She'll do a lot of things. So when she was presented as, which is funny, she's like the bimbo blonde type, like ditzy girly blonde type, but she's also the hacker. So I was like, okay, weird skill set.
What the fuck is that thing? A ballerina vampire.
But I love it. I love it. I love it. And in the interview, she said that she loves this character as well because it's like who she would want to be. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like you would want that.
Like, even a neck tat, like so sick. Ugh, I love her.
I understand. Why am I always the snottiest person in the world? I got up to blow my nose and almost face planted tripping on a cord. So you didn't get to see that. Okay, also before we get into her makeup department, can't do tattoos. Tattoos look so bad. Tattoos, oh, I don't have that many on this arm. Tattoos, they looked like the kind that you buy in a thing for $1 and you put on yourself. They were not good. I was not convinced for a second by these tattoos. And I know tattoos are hard, but if you're gonna give someone that many, make some of them look convincing. She had a neck tattoo. The dragon, really, that was on her arm. I'm like, that tattoo artist would have just used 2 tones the whole time. It doesn't look aged whatsoever. I mean, who am I to say anything? But like, no, I didn't like how unconvincing they were. But I'm happy that she had them because like, that's fun. And I know it's a ton of work to do that. So I was happy she had that. She also had fuck mom, I think, on her hands that almost looked drawn on. Like, I was like, are those supposed to be tattoos or are they not supposed to be tattoos? I couldn't really tell. I love that as a character, but they still looked bad. It doesn't really matter. It's just my opinion. Obligatory Elton visit. Okay. But I knew, and I was surprised when we learned what character she was, and she seemed kind of like the one in this type of movie where they would just die. Like, they would just die, and you didn't really care about them much because they were kind of stupid. So I thought, okay, weird of her to be that character because I know she's in a lot of things and has a lot of range, and like wouldn't really be cast to be a throwaway character, but her character was making it seem like she would be that. So I was really worried about how she was gonna die. I really didn't want her to get just another brutal death like Dean did. So I was like, okay, what are they gonna do with her? Graylee 2 was like that. She's like, Graylee predicted, okay, once she knew it was a vampire movie, Graylee did predict that Sammy would turn into a vampire. And I absolutely love, this is gonna be a long ass video. that she got bit and they didn't know what would happen. And I also love that they had the Twilight reference, the popular culture vampire knowledge pool scene.
How do we kill a vampire? What are we talking about? Like an Anne Rice or a True Blood? You know, Twilight?
Where they're like, what do we know about vampires? And she comes back with the freaking onions. Like, that's something I know what garlic is because I fucking love garlic, but I would do something like that. Comes back with the onions. They got their steaks. It doesn't work. He's punctured with his crucifix. They just did it in a great way. I loved how they got injured a lot, and it did show throughout the movie. I thought the fight scenes were very natural and long, and like they didn't go in a very choreographed way where you're like, this person's winning and now this person's winning, but then the person you want to win wins in the end. It wasn't like that. It was much more like, this person does something, this one, and it's like, oh, I thought it was over. Just kidding, it's not. Like, they're still fighting. And I think that was very natural. It felt more like, oh, God, when you are fighting for your life, it's probably gonna last a while. So they kept surprising me with, oh, it's not done. Wait, who is it gonna be? Also, I forgot to mention, I didn't know that in most theaters, the armrest in the middle goes up. And you can best snuggle, or if you were with someone. And Graylee told me that. Did you know that? I didn't know that. It was really fun. Okay, so we were talking about fighting. I also really liked that Sammy, Kathryn Newton, fell into the pit of decaying bodies, which also would have been spoiled had I seen the full trailer, which is annoying because that was a fun surprise in this endless mansion, that there was also a pit of bodies. Now I've lost my notebook. Why would I leave this area with it? It was behind the camera. Stupid. I recommend seeing this in theaters. Movies are just always more intense in theaters, and I don't know if it was because I was in the theater, but the audio was like really crisp, like to a point where I thought some of it must have been overdubbed, but surely not. I was just like, wow, I never really noticed the audio like that, but it was crystal clear. What took me over the edge from liking this movie to loving this movie is that they had the dance scene duet with Abigail and Sammy. And I was like, what more do I need in this horror comedy than a dance, than a cool dance thing? And it reminds me of Megan because it's another little girl monster thing dancing. I'll have to ask Graylee if she prefers Megan or Abigail. I feel like she would say Megan, and I would 100% say Abigail. So I thought I knew what your answer would be, but I was wondering if you liked Megan or Abigail more.
Oh. I kind of think I'd pick Abigail.
Oh, okay. Me too, but I was wondering if you'd pick Megan.
It's because I like the cast of characters better.
Yeah. I get most of my music from Shazamming it during the movies. So I Shazammed the song that was playing during their dance thing. And it was Blood and Tears by Danzig. And the cover is like a big, beefy, hairy guy chest with a skull crucifix. And it says Lucifuge on it. I don't know, it was very suiting, and I absolutely love the choice. I don't know that song. It fit perfectly, and it made me feel amazing, even though one of my favorite characters I knew was gonna die soon. But I was going to say, I'm happy that she turned into a vampire, because Kathryn Newton is amazing, and she was great as a vampire as well. And she wasn't just gonna be a blonde bimbo that died. I knew, like, she just wasn't. And since I knew pretty much all of them were gonna die, this was like the best possible outcome for me. I was so thrilled that she turned into a vampire, and I shit you not, when she first did, and she's like still, oh, it was really sad though, her killing Peter. That was sad. I was sad for him. I knew that was gonna happen, but it was very sad because I liked him, and he just said that he had people he cares about outside of the place, so yes, that's sad. But also, when she just got done like devouring him's neck and she got the teeth, she freaking looked just like Miley Cyrus. She looked just like Miley Cyrus. It was so weird. And I was like, oh my god, is that Miley Cyrus? Seriously, tell me if you thought that as well. Me, Kessa, and Graylee all thought that. So the teeth that they put in must be like really big. It puffs up their cheeks a lot. And I was gonna say, I'm so happy that they chose to do those teeth instead of just fangs. I feel like that makes a lot more sense for vampires in general, but that was a fun way to make it their own type of spin on vampires. vampires, and it was a way where we knew not to assume that everything we do know about vampires is true because they were different in a way already. So we were like, okay, but does a stake through the heart kill them? The garlic thing didn't work. Crucifix was nothing. They just missed with their stakes. That does work. Decapitation is sometimes a thing, but I feel like it wouldn't really kill them because her arm gets blown off and she regrows that. So the sunlight was drastic. I was happy the sunlight was like instant exploding. I appreciated that, and her touching the sunlight to see if she was a vampire or not, and the mirror thing. So I'm happy they covered like all the basics, but there was one part of this vampire lore that I thought was a bit of a loophole, or they didn't explain what would happen, and like they don't need to explain, but I know when creating a monster movie and a vampire movie where there are rules already, they have to consider it all. So I know that they thought about this, and I have a question about the vampire lore, so bear with me. One, Abigail is an old vampire. She bites Kathryn Newton, and I don't know why I'm saying her full name every time. She bites her. It's quite a while until she is then a puppet, and I guess maybe as something, I think that's when her arm gets blown off, so like maybe she isn't like fully ready to do that yet. Whatever. It takes a while for her to become a puppet, but she is a puppet, so that is a thing that vampires can do, and I guess that has happened before. They have mind control, or they have whatever. So that was really cool. I enjoyed that. And then other vampire, cop bastard guy, turns into a vampire. Love that he just projectile vomited all of the blood in his body. To me, that made sense. Like, that sucks. But okay, so you have to drink the blood of the vampire that turned you. That is what happened. That was the distinction of why he was just his own autonomous vampire and not a puppet, is because he drank the blood of what's his face, who also was like a big actor. So it made sense that he came back later, because I was like, you're only that beginning scene. Okay, he looked cool as a vampire as well. Everyone looked cool as a vampire. They did a good transformation, and they licked their teeth a lot. It was great. Okay, so Kathryn Newton, puppet. Cop man, I don't remember his name, drinks the blood, and he is his own vampire. Now, he then bites Joey to try to make her his puppet. And I guess I was genuinely fearful that that would happen. But when he bit her, I knew that she was not going to be a puppet. Like, they had me not thinking for a second that she was going to be a puppet, because it would have been really hella fast that happened, considering how long it took Kathryn to turn. So I was like, okay, she's obviously not a puppet. When are you going to turn around and stake him? And I did think maybe she'll turn around and stake him and he'll die, but he didn't, and that would have been really predictable. So I'm happy that she turned around, but her efforts were futile, and she did not still stand a chance against this vampire as a human being. So, and then they continue fighting. So my question is, not a puppet, Abigail very coolly gets to say, you don't get to learn the cool things until you're really old, you fucking newbie. So that was great, and I expected that. And then he eventually dies. I, at this moment, kind of can't remember exactly how he dies because the fight scene was so long and there were so many different things. But he dies, gets exploded, he explodes. And then she's like, oh my god, he bit me, am I gonna be fine? And Abigail's like, oh, you're fine now that he's dead. He's dead, so you're fine. Okay, so my question is, long-windedly, what would have happened had he not died? Would she have turned into a vampire without drinking his blood? Or would she have just died? Or would she have been fine? I would kind of think she could have been fine, but that must not be true because he died and then she was fine, you know? Like, she would have been fine no matter what. Abigail would have said that. So like, there's just like, it's unanswered. What do you think? Would she have just been her? What would have happened? Would she have been a puppet later on? I don't get it. That to me is a plot hole. Plot hole. Not an important one really whatsoever. I was just actively thinking about it while watching. So someone explain to me vampire lore a bit more, please. Okay, I will also say I did literally laugh out loud in the theater. I LOL'd. That was horrible. But I really liked the diversity in the audience at this theater. It was one of the most not packed. I've gone to the movies lately and there weren't that many people there, and there was a good amount of people, and of all ages. There was lots of old people. I was like, oh my god, hello all you old people who want to go to a scary movie Tuesday evening. It was just a lot of fun, and everyone seemed to like it after, and people laughed at different times, and I thought it was really nice. I recommend going in the theater again. I need to talk more about Alisha Weir. She has a great career ahead of her. I am so thrilled. She was absolutely so convincing as a thousands of year old vampire woman in a child's body. She had to do so many different characters in this, and none was less convincing than the other. I felt really bad for her at the beginning, and also had I not known she was gonna kill everyone in the end, I'd be like, wow, they're really taking the child kidnapping seriously in the opening scene. And I did, and I felt bad for her. But my favorite scene of hers is when she is locked in the cage thing.
I'm scared. Cut the shit. You're really good at pretending to be a little girl. Thank you.
Entirely because she's still toying with them because she can easily get out, which again is in the trailer. Her getting out of the cage thing is in the trailer, which is so stupid because it was another point of the movie where I'm like, okay, I know obviously she's not going to be stuck in this cage forever. Like, she's surely better than that, but I didn't know exactly how it was going to play out. And had I seen the trailer, I would have been like, oh, she's going to push it open on cop man, whatever. But her confidence and older woman mannerisms and her just acting is so phenomenal. She blew me away in that scene. I'm just so impressed. And the screaming that she did in this, great screaming. She's already a scream queen at this young age of like 13. Her swearing and everything. Also, she could fly. That was cool. And she did a lot of her own stunts. Her in the ballerina costume running across the freaking banister and just like absolutely jumping on all these people. This just looked like such a fun movie to make. And I think they all had a great time judging on all the press and everything. And I just love that for them. I've heard horror movies are not scary to make ever. They're just fun. They're just fun to make and gross. All right, another nitpicky thing that does not matter whatsoever. Although I thought the fights were very realistic, there was just at one point where Melissa Barrera, Joey, has been thrown into like 3 different parts of this mansion, like up into the banisters against a wrought iron, whatever the hell, just chucked everywhere, and her back is exposed because of what she's wearing, and there are no cuts or bruises or anything on her back. And I'm like, wow, that girl hella lucky for never scraping her back up after being thrown against so many surfaces. That again doesn't matter. They did a good job at all of the cuts and stuff, but I was like, she's still human. She's the human one. She should be deceased by now. I liked the iron, whatever it was that was stuck in her shoulder, being pulled off of it. That was convincing and horrible. That and decapitation of Dean was the goriest parts, I would think. It was a good soundtrack. I enjoyed it. Oh, I also wondered, are you like instantly malicious if you turn into a vampire? Like Frank was right away. He was like, I'm gonna make you my bitch and we're gonna go do a bunch of things, but he's a cop. He was a cop. So I believe that. But like, had Joey turned, would she have been mean right away? Abigail wasn't always mean. Like, she had some empathy and sympathy still. I mean, she justified in picking these people to kill specifically. So I just wondered how mean you were once you turned into a vampire. I'm happy he died. I'm happy he was annoying. Like, I would have been fine with him living or whatever, but I was happy he was just annoying, and then he just got to be annoying, and I was happy that he died the way that he did. And then the dad came in at the end, and I kind of thought at that point, like, I didn't need another example of Abigail standing up for Joey, because like I knew that was going to be the whole thing. So I was like, okay, this is a little drawn out now that the dad showed up, but it was also cool to see the infamous guy who's running the whole thing and killing so many people for centuries. And he let her go, so that was nice. Oh, also, I thought it was weird that more vampire lore. Abigail was like, you could kill me if you drain me fully. And Frank like does attempt to twice. He like is whatever, I don't want to say words, you know, and then he like comes up and he's like gushing her blood, like he has to breathe or whatever, and she's just like limp on the floor. I was like, did you not drain her fully both times? If that's a genuine way you can kill a vampire, why are you so bad at that? And then she was weak, so like that kind of drew out the fight scene at the end too, and I was like, man, I really don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen, because apparently he's just bad at fighting, bad at being a vampire. Oh, I wrote down punk gothic version of the Glass Onion, and I think that's true. This is a darker version of a whodunit slash slasher, slasher, the hashling slasher, that kind of vibe. I mean, Scream is similar in that way. It is a whodunit. This wasn't a whodunit. A heist movie. I forgot that it's a heist movie, I guess. A criminal ensemble death movie. Kathryn and her poodles, I covered that. Okay, I covered everything in my little journal. I can't wait to see this again. It'll still be fun knowing what happens. At the end, they had a cute little in memory of Angus Cloud, which was really nice. So sad. And the end credit song was original for the movie. They did that in Scream 2. Scream as well, not Scream 2. With Demi Lovato song, and it's like not very good. But I always appreciate a movie that gets an original score for any of it. So I liked that. And genuinely, for what this movie is, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. Like, I don't really have any, I was having fun the whole time. There weren't any moments where I was like, could have done this and it would have been way better. It's still sad to me that movies like this, they don't have any type of, horror movies don't get any type of recognition. It's its own genre, and you could be good at it and you could be bad at it. And these directors and writers and actors are really good at it. So I hope you enjoyed my random retelling of this movie. It was just a lot of fun, and it was genuinely funny and not hit you in the face and we're trying to make jokes funny. They felt like real people, what they would say, and it was funny. And I highly recommend seeing it in the theater. It'll be fun at home too though. I'll definitely be rewatching. Thank you for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. I'm so jazzed. I was jazzed when I got 100 and now I have 1,000. That feels really nice. I talk about more movies, and I also talk about my journey in the duck stamp coming soon, and a documentary about me judging the junior duck stamp. Totally unrelated to Abigail. I hope you enjoyed this. Please click all the buttons if you did, and go see a gory movie.